Hello everybody, this is PD at BurgZerg at BurgZerg.com, and here we are again with another tutorial for our little hack and slash tutorial series. Now this one is number 266, I believe, and all we're going to be doing is carrying on from our last tutorial where we started working with our mob's melee attack animation. So with that said, let's go ahead and open up Unity, and let's just start it up. Now at the end of the last video, we had actually just added the line to debug, set to debug log our length of the melee attack animation for our mob, and let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we'll go ahead, run up to our mob, and we should get the debug log message. And actually we don't have an animation attached yet. That's right, because we unattached it and we haven't actually added it back in. So let's go ahead and actually take the prefab for our mob, which I saved under resources, and the one I'm using is the Dungeon Guardian, so just whatever one you're currently using. And if we come down and take a look here, sure enough, I do not have anything here. So I'm going to go up to the animation list of it, and I'm going to go select the one that I want for the melee attack. It's going to show me where that is in my project window. And I'll just come down, take it, drag it, drop it right on. And that should be it. So let's go ahead, we'll clear this off, and let's try it again. So we'll start our game up. I'm going to go ahead, run through the portal, and run up to the mob. And this time we actually should get a length. And I believe this length is actually represented in seconds. So we are going to stretch it out over 2 seconds, but let's see how long it is by default. By default, it's actually 0.23333 seconds. So we might actually have to fool around with this here to make it look a little bit more presentable. I don't think we'll have to fidget around with it too much. But you know, if an animation is fairly short to begin with and you stretch it out to a longer period of time, it can be, well, slow motion. But anyway, let's go ahead and head into MonoDevelop, and we'll take a look here. So we've debugged out the length. Let's make sure I'm at the bottom here. Yep, so we're debug logging out the length. And let's actually go ahead and actually just play the animation now. So to do that, we're still going to call the animation component. And we're going to call, well, let's just do play for now. Keep it simple. We've covered animation, at least the basics before, and Unity already has a really good write-up for the animations. Now the animation we want to play, we have to specify its name. And the name we can get from our variable for melee attack.name. And then you can also do a play mode, and we probably will, but for now let's just keep it like this. And let's just quickly go over this line. So we're calling the animation component, which if we look at a mob, is this component up here with all the animations in it. And if we go back and take a look, we're calling the animation melee attack.name, which of course is going to be the name associated with the animation that we have set in our, let me see, close some of this down. There we go. So it's going to be set according to, oh, sorry, it's in the advanced movement script. The name here. So it comes up here, finds where that animation is, and goes, okay, let's go ahead and play this. Now this system here, personally, I don't do it like this when I'm doing it myself, but since everyone has so many different animations that are going to be different from each other, and they're all going to be named different, this is probably the easiest way to actually get the name to avoid typos. But when you're working on your projects yourself, I usually just keep all my attack animations the same. So for instance, I might have a one-handed attack 1 animation and a one-handed attack 2 animation. And then maybe, I usually have like 3, and then I do something like a two-handed attack 1 animation. Basically, I keep the same naming convention for all of the mobs that I create. But since I'm using models that someone else created, I really don't have control over what they're named unless I want to go ahead and duplicate them, go through the animation editor, duplicate them, and rename them all. But I don't really want to do that, so I'm just going to leave them like this here. And just use the system here just to go ahead and easily reference them. But anyway, now that that's done, let's go ahead. We're going to start this up. We'll hit clear. And we'll go run up to the mob, and he's going to attack. I actually might switch the mob out for something that has a little bit more of a robust animations to it. But anyway, we'll run up to this mob, and it will attack. And if you watch, it's just like really quick, just like a quick chop. That was it. And it's going to go off every 2 seconds. Let me actually go ahead, go to the mob generator. I'm actually going to replace it with the personal guard pretty much done with this mob. I still have to add the name, I think. Yeah, the 3D text name. But he's going to have a nice big sword. I'm going to run up to him. Well, I should say that the item that he's equipped will be much bigger. And we'll run up. And there he goes. He chops at me. And you'll notice he's using all the same animations that I am. So his legs up in the air and his torso is stretched. But take a look here. His animation is actually a little bit slower than the other mobs. And you can actually see the attack go off. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on lengthening that animation. So naturally, I think the first thing most people think of is that if they want to adjust the length of it, that they're going to come in and either get the reference to it, for instance, melee attack.length, and they're going to set it to equal whatever they want it to be. And in this example, we're using 2 seconds for the base length. Of course, we'd actually want to pass that in as some sort of parameter. But anyway, we'll just try to set it to 2 seconds right off the bat. And if we come back into Unity, you'll get an error. And if we go ahead and take a look at this error, it's saying that it cannot assign a value to it because animation clip.length is read only. So how about do we go about changing how long the animation takes? With the animation, its length can't be changed, but one of the properties you can change about animations is its speed. Now, in order to do that, well, we're going to want to get a reference to, we're going to want to actually call the actual animation that we have in our animation component. So we're going to use animation. Oops, sorry. We're going to call the animation component, and then we're going to pass in the name that we have for it. And then we're going to call .speed, and this is the speed it plays at. And what we're going to want to do to get it to be the speed that we actually want it to play at will be to set, or to grab its length. So animation, and again grab its name, and grab its length, and then divide it by the length you actually want it to be. So when we start passing in the actual value, which is going to be 2 seconds for default, we'll put this variable in here, but for now we're just going to get this here part working. So we're just going to put 2 in there for hard casted in. And I'm also going to go ahead and throw in some debug log statements. And to be honest, I'm just going to copy this one up top. I'm going to go ahead and change it to look at the speed. And this one here, we can actually see the speed change. And of course, I'll also put that out right before we actually play. And I'm not seeing any typos, so let's actually head into Unity. Let it recompile, make sure all the errors are gone. Apparently I do have an error. Let me just take a look here. Animation does not contain a definition for speed. Let me come in, and that's correct, it does not. We gotta grab it like this. So we'll just replace that melee attack here with the animation melee attack name. And if we come back in, let it recompile, all of our errors are gone, and we just have a couple warnings. So let's go ahead, we'll start this back up. We're going to go ahead, run into the portal, run over to our guy once we get out of the portal. And since we're dealing with animation, I'll probably go ahead and clean up some of the animations that we have already besides the attack. But let's watch here. So we'll go ahead, we'll watch. He's actually doing the animation. It's a bit slower. And just to check here, if we come up here to the top, we'll see where it goes through. We're calling the melee attack animation. It has a length of 0.666667. It's got a speed of 1 by default. And then, of course, after we run through the calculation on changing the speed, as you can see, it slows the speed down. And it says we have a hit. And then every time we come through, we'll notice that the speed is different again. And we'll probably want to keep that calculation of the speed here all the time, because it's going to be based off of, attributes such as, our quickness or nimbleness or whatever it is that you have set to adjust your attack speed. Now that appears to be 10 minutes already for today. So everything else we'll cover in a future tutorial. But anyway, like always, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and maybe add it to your favorites and share it with a couple friends. It helps me out. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.